take this a little bit further now. One of the kind of mantra of mine when I'm training people is to test your work. Okay, I got into this via very indirect Ericksonian style hypnotherapy, which is good, and it's great language, and there's lots of good technique in there that I love. And I'll use some of that on the street, but most of the time it's much more direct. People often mistake my stuff being completely direct, but it's pretty direct. Many people, when they begin with it, focus on the induction, and we're just building up to an induction. We're dropping you right in the middle of it here. But when I say test your work, often I'm referring to the stuff we're going to do later on today, the phenomena. If you think they're hypnotized, then give them a suggestion. Their hand's stuck, their feet are stuck, that they can't remember something, that they can see something that isn't there. Test your work. The vast majority of hypnotherapists never test their work, would never know if someone was hypnotized because it might all crash and burn around them, okay? So that testing process doesn't just apply to amnesia and hallucinations. Right here, what you're doing already is testing. This isn't just, you know, a sequence of actions you're going to go through like a robot and not think about. Okay, by the time we get to this place you have, you just come over here. Yeah, I'm a hypnotist. Can I show you something interesting?
Sure, cool.
Cool, I'll tell you what, just take a step forward for me and just place your feet together if you would. Right, all of this stuff is, to me, is just like this arm on the shoulder. It's just a verbal equivalent. If I'm trying to feel and sense, is he moving in my direction? Not just from a sense of compliance. I want compliance. I want him to do exactly what I ask him to do, pretty much on the beat that I ask it. Okay, but I want to feel. Again, resistance can make you think they don't want to do it. That's not necessarily the case. It's just a misunderstanding. If they think they're being dragged somewhere away from their friends and they're less comfortable about that, then they may give some physical resistance. If you give it pretty much any reason at all to stand there, this is a better spot. Stand over here and you can relax. Any reason, even if it's a nonsensical reason, people will just take the step and stand there. Okay, so. When we're doing this, I know you're obviously getting to know each other and it's all a bit of a laugh, right? I want you to genuinely try and gauge consistently where they're at, where their attention is at. And Igor will talk about levels of attention later, I'm sure. But at this point, is that pretty much on the beat? When you give a suggestion, when you give an instruction at this point, if you like, rather than a suggestion, are they acting on it perfectly? When you get that hand on their shoulder, this is like a sensitivity drill. So if I say, you can relax, or have you ever had an experience where you just need to relax more, and I don't feel that loosen up at all, then that idea hasn't been taken on board, even though it was delivered as a question. So we're going to drill this in over and over and over again until your ears bleed, right? But the purpose is not just to say these lines without any real engagement. Get their attention, get their eye contact, put your hand on their shoulder, and be as sensitive as you can to what's coming back at you, because that's how you're going to get better at it. I can tell you the vast majority of the times, but in a typical street hypnosis situation, by the time I get to the induction, my work is done. I'm absolutely certain that I know the induction will come off. And that's all down to this simple and constant testing. All right, so we're going to add a little piece to it now about getting the eye fixation and the best ways of doing that, and then we'll just practice again.
Okay. Yeah. So just remember, folks, that the key here is you're responsible. You're the hypnotist, right? Who is the hypnotist in this room? I am. Okay, he's right. He's over there. No, you're the hypnotist, which means the drills we're doing right now, imagine that you're on the street and you're going to have to do something with this. You're going to get someone's hand stuck to the wall, hallucinate something, whatever. Does that make sense? So you need to convince yourself, am I happy to put this person in trance right now? And if there's any doubt in your mind, well, then either call someone over or start playing with it. Like get a little bit more of this, talk to them a little bit more until you find that kind of natural receptivity thing coming on. So all of you have a sense that some people were really easy to work with, yes? That all of you have a sense that some people were a little bit more like, oh, I don't know about this, yes? That's the sense you want to develop. That's the whole thing that Anthony's talking about. All right, should we go on to the next part, the eye fixation?
Yeah, just to add one thing, when you're giving an instruction to move, without getting into complexities of language, just phrasing it as would you, and could you, and can you, just makes people step right into it. They take it as an instruction, as a command. Would you stand here for me? Would you place your feet together? It kind of assigns some value to it. So that rather than just saying stand there, stand here, do this, it just softens it slightly, and I find that helps things along.
Right,
Yep.
so do you want to do the eye thing, or do we do it?
You go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so next thing again, you start at exactly the same point. Introduce yourself as a hypnotist. Hi, I'm a great hypnotist. Did you know that?
Yes.
Well, of course you did. So if you stand over here, you'll actually get an experience of it too. Isn't that fantastic? Wow. So this is a compliant subject or not? Do I have his responsiveness or not? I do, don't I? Oh, good. In that case, you can now put both hands on the shoulders, and now this is the key thing. I'm going to look straight at his eyes, or maybe you can get him to look in my eyes. Please just look at my eyes. Mm-hmm. There. So what I'm looking for is, do I have eye fixation? So the eye become perfectly still, and you'll almost notice that something shifts. It's like a breathing shift maybe, or a slight change in the eyes. It does not matter if you can tell what the shift was, as long as you get a sense of something just changed there, and we're not even quite sure what it is. Does that make sense?
I think your pupils dilated.
A little dilation of pupils, and yeah, we can talk about that later on. For the moment, all we're looking for is there a slight shift in that person, and do they have all their attention locked on you?
Yeah.
Can you get that part?
Let me just add one little tip with this eye fixation. Again, it kind of makes it easier. Some people really struggle to look in your eyes, especially if you've got both eyes locked on their face. Their eyes will track all over your face. Okay, so often if they're kind of a bit timid and they can't manage to lock on, I just say, look here, just right underneath my eye. Okay, and I'll point to one spot. And rather than looking through both their eyes like this, I normally, and just habitually now, will just focus on one of your eyes, and I'm actually going to look straight through your head. Right? So, because what that does, it encourages my eyes to fixate, and they will not move from that point. I will literally look at the light reflecting in Eagle's pupil, and try it like I'm looking at a magic eye picture. Right? My eyes will fixate and dilate slightly, and their gaze has to then fixate on a single spot. And they won't move, they won't look at their friends, they'll just stay locked on. So just when you're doing it, rather than it just being this, where our eyes are kind of tracking, just get their attention and just say, no, just look here, and just keep your eyes on that spot, and then I know that I've got his full attention, okay?
Is that easy to do, guys? Okay. Notice the different responses you get in people's eye patterns and in the focus levels as you do this. There's no right or wrong, just notice how people will vary. Off you go.